And from sunny Melbourne, we welcome on the program now Mr. Steve Argy, the editor of Opera magazine. Steve, Yasu Tikanis.
Good morning, Tom. Yes, it's for once it is sunny. It's it's surprising, but I suppose it is spring now, so we should expect it.
I was going to say my very first question was, what's the first spring weekend in Melbourne like?
It's actually pretty good so far, but it's only very early in the morning, so by the afternoon, who knows? It could be a disaster.
I'd say it's the same thing here too. We've had the last week; it's been good, and then we've now had a cold snap. Anyway, it doesn't matter as long as things will progress. We're now officially in spring, so I think
we certainly are.
Let's hope the weather picks up and the spirits of all the people pick up. Yipon, we've got the August edition of Opera magazine to talk about today.
Yes, it's well and truly out now. We're finishing off winter with the August edition with Nigel Barker on the cover, which has been a bit of an interesting reaction.
Right.
A non-Greek graces our cover for the first time.
Okay, well, it doesn't matter. We are living in a multicultural society.
But I would have told you get it straight away.
Not only that, but I think there was some incredible statistics that we talked about a few days ago. 62, I think, % of Greek marriages in Melbourne are of mixed marriages. So,
100%. That wouldn't surprise me.
It would be 100%. Lipon. So we're all Australians and we're all brothers with our fellow citizens. So of course, we can only welcome the best of the best. So yeah, why not?
Well, Nigel was very, very keen to share his thoughts on Hellenism, and he's actually a Sri Lankan migrant to the UK.
Mm-hmm.
So very much a child of multiculturalism. A lot of the things we talked about and we discussed in the article were very, very relevant to Greek Australians growing up here in the 70s and 80s. So I'm sure a lot of people will connect with Nigel's interview and his takes on the way things have changed globally as far as being inclusive and accepting other cultures into Western society.
Absolutely.
So it was a real honour to get Nigel on there. We also have another international who's going to be a regular from now on. We have Basil, the comedian, who was out here not long ago doing stuff with the boys, with George Kapinyaris, Joe Avadi, and Tahir.
Farewell.
So we introduced Basil this issue, and as of September, we'll have a touch of Basil every issue, just spicing things up a little bit with his unique humour and his interesting observations on life and being Greek and all those sorts of things. So something to look forward to going forward.
I'd say it's very interesting point of view of a comedian. Comedians are very, very intelligent people because they observe what happens in society and they pull out those characteristics that actually they exaggerate and make us laugh. So it'd be really, really interesting to see from the perspective of an American, a Greek or Hellenic American, to see how he sees things. And of course, with the fact that he's been in Australia for some time now, touring around, he also gets to see the Hellenes of Australia as well as and he can compare them with what's going on in America as well. So it'd be very, very interesting read.
Well, that was exactly what happened. I connected with him a couple of times while he was here, and he loved the concept of the magazine, and wanted to share his observations on life in general with readers. The beauty of it is that we are launching next month on iPhone, iPad.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be a lot easier for readers in the US to pick up the magazine. We do have great distribution channels at the moment, but as you can imagine, postage and delivery is a little bit delayed, and postage is quite expensive into the US and into the UK. So there will be an Opera iPhone app being launched sometime in September.
Well, that would be awesome because it's at your fingertips. You can be in a bus stop waiting or on a train, United States or anywhere, and all you've got to do is press a button and all of a sudden you're in. So,
well, it's great because, Apple provide the newsstand service. So the magazine every month will just be digitally delivered, like overnight when it's out. You'll just wake up in the morning and it'll be on your newsstand on your iPad. It'll make life a hell of a lot easier for us through distribution. We are getting a lot more inquiries about the magazine internationally, so it was definitely the way to go. So with Basil coming on board, I'm sure his American, fan club and his people over there would be more than interested to read about, his opinions through Opera.
Excellent.
We have a great feature this month on the Hellenic Museum here in Melbourne. There was a big announcement made earlier in August, a couple of weeks back, that the Victorian government are putting up $300,000 to support the endeavours of the Hellenic Museum and bring out a nice exhibition. So we cover that and talk to the CEO of the Hellenic Museum, John Tsamouras, and to the minister, to the Nicholas Koutouris, the Honourable Nicholas Koutouris, the minister who approved that contribution by the Victorian government.
Excellent.
So it's a great initiative by them to support Hellenic culture and to try and engage the youth into a venue. Have you ever come down to see the Hellenic Museum here in Melbourne?
Look, I've promised so many people to come down. I promised
Little Birdie tells me you're coming next month.
So many people have told me, like when I come down there, I don't know which. I have to split myself up into various parts to be able to go and see everybody. Just
drink lots of coffee and run around really fast.
Oh, I think so too. I think.
Look, we also round off the cooking this month with the last of our winter series. So Mary Vale, international author and cuisine champion, Mary Vale presents the last of the winter series of the kitchen section, the cuisine, with some beautiful avolemona and yuvarlaka and things like that.
Yummy.
Things that are very nice for a nice cold winter's evening. So, being the last month of winter, we thought we'd finish off with some winter specials. And she also presents a little piece on preserving olives, which is a very interesting read and something very traditional and unique.
The beauty of Opera magazine being in English, I find that every time I go to work and I drop the magazine, even non-Greeks, non-Hellenes, they launch into it. The food, the moda, the fashion. There's a whole multitude of items that they launch into it, and that's the beauty of it. The fact that it's not only good for the Hellenes, that it revitalizes Hellenes of Australia, but it also exposes the culture to the rest of the mainstream Australia, but also, I suppose, now in America as well. That's the beauty of...
Well, that's the whole point. We're trying to sort of make it accessible, make these recipes, these beautiful dishes that we've enjoyed, we've taken for granted through our parents and through our mothers cooking over the years, make it accessible to people that, will discover it for the first time. And, that's the picture we try to paint here. We engage people like Mary Vale. We've also engaged the Sydney side. I think you may know, young lady runs Greekalicious up there. Maria Bedardis is quite a good friend, and we've got a story on her as well with her new products being released. Again, Maria is with her Greekalicious business up there, tries to make Greek cooking and Greek recipes accessible to non-Greeks, and that's the whole point of this. Nigel, for example, was so taken back by the fact that a Greek culture magazine wanted to interview him that he provided us with some editorial images, some fashion images, which he normally charges, tens of thousands of dollars for. And he said, I'm blown away by the fact that you guys are interested in my story. You can have these, with, international models and things like that. So even the fashion section in this issue is incredible. To have Nigel Barker credited as a photographer in a Greek culture magazine, possibly the biggest photographer in the world, is an incredible achievement for Hellenes, not for Opera, for Hellenes as a culture, sort of assimilating and giving themselves out to the rest of the people to share.
Well, it's interesting you say that because in a recent read, ancient Greek culture was never an inner culture. In other words, it was always exposing itself to other cultures. That's why it survived thousands and thousands of years. One suggestion I would like to make to most Opera readers is, and especially if you go to work, take a magazine, place it on in the common room or the staff common room, or call it whatever, wherever most people congregate at lunchtime. Just drop it and leave it and see what happens. You'd be pleasantly surprised, because I've already experimented, and I've done this.
Hopefully it's like a chip when you throw it amongst the seagulls.
That's right. It's exactly what it is, because you throw it there and then you sit back and observe, because literally what you're doing is basically exposing Hellenism to everybody else, and you look at the things that work. You look at the things that people go for, and of course it all depends on the kind of people and what interests people have. But what I've been surprised with, and I once said to George Dalaras when he was in Australia, and he performed, and I said, George, yeah, it's incredible what I'm about to tell you, but whilst watching you in action up on the stage, I could have collected any friend from work and said, look, come here, listen to this Greek artist from Greece. What do you think? It was just a combination of songs that made me feel proud to be a Hellene. Same thing with the magazine. The fact that you can get it, you can take it, stick it on a table, and let people explore it and look at the reaction they make, because literally what you're doing is exposing Hellenism to mainstream Australia.
And that's all we're trying to do. That's it. You summed it up in one. We're trying to. I call Hellenism cordial, and all we're trying to do is dilute the rest of the world with this intense, powerful cordial of Hellenism, and that's the idea of the magazine. We have some very traditional Greek pieces in there, sort of talking about Greek cultural, achievements and efforts, and profiles and things like that, historical pieces. But then we dilute it a bit with some mainstream non-Greek content that makes it a little bit accessible to everybody else. And
absolutely,
I think by reaction and by the way that the magazine's growing, it seems to be working. It seems to be painting a different picture and be getting the Hellenic message out to the masses, which is great. It's great for Greece. It's great for Greek people.
Great for everybody.
Fantastic.
Okay, but that's for August. But we've also got some interesting things happening on TV. Is that right?
Well, September's a big month for us. As I said, we'll be launching our digital platform, our mobile platform. So the iPhone app will be well and truly out by the end of the month. On September 27th, we go to air with the first episode of Oppa TV, which will be showing on channel 183 on Foxtel nationally. And September will also be the cover that is Zoe Carouzos, who is our winner of our national Facebook competition, The Face of Opera. So September's shaping up to be a jam-packed issue and month at Opera HQ.
And all I've got to say to most of our listeners, I'm not going to tell you anything about next week, and I won't let Steve say anything either. All I'm saying is stay tuned for next week's program, because we've got a very pleasant surprise for you. And that's it. I'm not saying any more.
Thank you, Tom. My lips are sealed also.
But all I'm saying is it's really worth the wait. Well, I can't say. I'm tempted to say, but I'm not saying anymore.
I totally agree.
I totally. All I can say is stay tuned for next week, because this week you've heard Steve, but next week we've got something equally as good. And
better, much better.
Much better? Okay.
Much better.
Okay. All right then, Steve. Thank you. Thank you
Tom.
very much. Have a beautiful spring, I should say. Let's all have a beautiful spring. Even though the weather's a little bit better in Melbourne, but hopefully further up the coast we can get a little bit warmer and we can enjoy it as well.
A little bit better now. Wait till the afternoon. I'm sure we'll fix things up by then.
Okay. Nasakala, Steve. We'll talk to you again very soon.
Nasakala. Thank you.
Thank you.